This week on the show, photographer Alain Briand. I'm model Roxanne Callie.
And I'm photographer Brian Fisher.
And this is Model Photography Showcase.
Hey, Roxanne.
We're back.
We're back for another classic episode with a great photographer.
Indeed.
Alain Briand is an experienced and artistic photographer, and we had a lot of fun talking to him back in 2014. And we hope you guys enjoy this classic episode of Model Photography Showcase. Hey, Roxanne. How you doing?
Hi, it's been a while. How are you?
It's like it's a whole nother year.
Oh, it's 2014.
So you may not have noticed we haven't recorded in a while.
I have noticed.
Yes.
That's correct.
Let's see. We did our hiatus with some nice vacations, and you got to go out and do that whole picture-y thing, and I got to not do the picture-y thing because I've been doing other things. I've been photographing a lot of 6-year-olds.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I remember you telling me.
Nothing like the school photographic season.
Oh.
Let's see. There's sit with your knees facing that way. Click. Sit with your knees facing that way. Click. Please bring in the next child. Yes, that was a month that I can't wait. It's just 10 months away to do it again.
You know what? Those kids now know their best side in their photographs.
No, actually, if you look at this picture or this picture or this picture or even that picture, I think my kid pictures are very cute.
Yes, I bet they are because kids are pretty cute.
Well,
and you have a way with them.
If you had only looked at the screen, you would have seen them, adding them in post-production.
Yes.
So our guest is the amazing Alain Briand of Oblique Photo. Alain, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm amazing, but I appreciate the intro nonetheless.
How about if just the pictures are amazing?
Yes, they are. Very skilled.
I will be the first to tell you, going through the last hour going, all right, I got to cut this down to 12 pictures. He's got 180 pictures on Model Mayhem.
And they're diverse.
Yeah, well,
diverse.
And I'm going to tell you the first thing I didn't put in here is really amazing portraiture.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a ton of really beautiful work that honestly is probably bread and butter, make your money type stuff. And we don't have the space to really go into it.
Oh.
Sure.
So what I've done is I've kind of picked stuff that has spark, that has something that I saw in there that I want to either hear the story of or I want to make an exclamation point and point at virtually, which of course no one will see.
Yes, I will.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
see
good
it.
Enough. Oh, yeah, but it'll be backwards. You're sitting the other way.
You're right.
Oh, well. So if you are on a Macintosh, don't forget to command click that's the little Apple-y logo-y thing. Command click the icon at the top of iTunes as it's playing, and that will bring up the slideshow. On a Windows, I believe it's a control click. Play with it if you don't get it right, or just go over to the website, watch it on the website. Another little bit of business is iTunes got updated over the holidays, and it stopped downloading the video feed. And we've been talking to a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, it's you and a bunch of other people. We don't know why it's doing that. So we are either going to adapt our feed to work again, or Apple will kindly fix the problem that they sprayed into the podcast mix. In the meantime, you can watch us on the website. The enhanced feed is working just fine. And you can actually watch them by going to the Apple Store and clicking directly on the link there. They still seem to work. From there, let's go to our first photo.
This girl has the most beautiful hair color, first of all.
Oh, no, that's a net over the top, Roxanne.
Yes, I know. I'm talking about her auburn
Oh,
red.
the auburn's
it's
nice,
beautiful.
too.
She has a gorgeous profile, first of all. And I really like the color splash of the green and the pink.
It is. That was the first thing that brought me to it, is the colors. I like that basically it would be somewhat mundane. It's got all these kind of gray tones and light flesh tones. And then there is this splash of green, and then you have the mirroring tones of the lips and the band on the hat.
Yes.
And and they're good.
Yeah, this one, so this model, her name is Elizabeth Petty-John. She's actually a pretty active petite model in the area. And we got together, this was actually our first shoot, because a makeup artist wanted some, I guess, refresher type shots for their website, and actually arranged the models. It wasn't even my choice. She just came in to pose for the makeup and whatnot. And we were going through those, and at near the end of the shoot, she said, this is Elizabeth. She says, hey, I brought some antique hats, that I just happen to have, from my relatives or whatever. She kept them at home. And she goes, do you mind if we, shoot off a few frames with those? And so at first I'm thinking antique hats. I don't know, are they going to look like something out of Harry Potter or what? I wasn't quite sure what she had brought. But then she pulled this thing out, and I said, wow, that is amazing. That'll really pop. I mean, as you can see, her eye color, really blue too. So, with the hair, the eyes, the hat, and the way that the makeup artist done her lips, I just thought, to keep it simple and, make those colors pop. And this was the result. Funny thing about Elizabeth, she and I, since that time, we've worked together several times because we kind of hit it off at that shoot. And she just loves to mess with her hair, and there's times where it's long, there's times where it's literally a buzz cut, it just goes back and forth. Sometimes she dyes it different colors or whatever, but this is her natural color. And I think it's wonderful. As a matter of fact, if anybody wanders to my website after this podcast, whatever, they'll see some pretty recent shots I did with her hair, styled differently and done differently. But I still think she's pretty much striking no matter what kind of hair she comes in with. But these colors and the hat really was a special shot from that initial shoot.
She is quite beautiful. Something that I want to point out to people is, firstly, obviously the lighting is some sort of a softbox or strip box on her left, photographer's right. And what people that aren't really into lighting need to pay attention to is that the light has gone across. If you think of it like a sunset coming across her face, if you're like looking at a planet and its light edge, the light comes across the bridge of her nose, and it enters her eye, and it makes the eye illuminate. If she was just aimed a little more at the softbox, you would have too much light on the face, and the eye would fall into sort of the same brightness level. And of course, if she's a little further away and the eye isn't catching that light, the eye disappears in the not such good picture. But there is this magic point at which you put a little light, comes into the clear part of the eye, and it just makes the colors in the eye pop, and it is beautiful.
It is. Nailed it.
Yes.
Thank you.
This would be interesting to see as a black and white, because I know it would completely change the image.
Oh, definitely. Mm-hmm. No, I like that.
And some of the other, like I say, she had antique hats. We did several antique looks with black and white afterwards.
Any time a girl brings a hat in, you just shoot it.
Absolutely.
I have a hat, Brian, that we'll have to use sometime.
I'm all over it.
You
bring it in.
It's all feathers.
Oh, nice.
And they're laid down flat, and it's like a skull cap almost.
Oh, like a 1920s kind of thing.
Yes, very fancy.
Oh, you could so do the 1920s
I
thing.
think it would be really interesting to do sometime.
Which reminds me, I have 2 picks.
Oh.
Yes.
Gosh, I have a hard time thinking of one.
I know, but one of my picks has to do with the 20s and a really good hat.
Well, in that case, we'll have to intertwine them. This next image is really cool. It's almost steampunk with the glasses, and I don't know if the hat is necessarily, but I love the way she's posing with it looking like she's looking through a microscope or something.
That's actually, so yeah, definitely the steampunk glasses. And that's actually a clip-on to the glasses that has the 2 little magnifying glasses. I forget what, but that's actually part of the glasses. So you can flip them up or flip them down or whatever. Yeah. And so it was definitely, a steampunk inspired look. The name of this model is Megan Shearer, who actually lives down in California now, and shot with me for probably a good 2 or 3 years, kind of my muse, I would say, where we just, experimented with all kinds of different looks and all kinds of, different styles of photography. And this was just something I had maybe seen similar type of, wardrobe and accessories, and I said, I just got to give this a try, And so actually, the makeup artist and I made that necklace from, I don't know, things that were lying around. I think there are small keys that are hanging there, and and the hat's a bowler hat. I don't know. I think I was inspired by Stanley Kubrick there, From,
Very nice.
Her black and gold lipstick is really interesting.
Yeah, I love that lipstick.
That's like the center of the photo, and it's what draws you in.
Yeah, it actually has these little X's almost. You can almost tell on the bottom there.
I like how the gold coloring on the goggles mirrors the lips. And because those are very good match to her hair and skin tones, they feel like they should be there, and yet they're obviously not right because they're very metallic.
Right.
And also, she just has some killer lip shape.
Yes, she does.
Oh, I know. And I think I can see a little further down here, you have another picture of her that will, completely different look, but you can almost tell those lips are there again. I got amazing killer images with this model over the course of, a couple of years. And this was just a fun, kind of a look we did one day. And I did have a makeup artist in here helping me obviously with the lips. And I had a hair person that kind of destroyed her hair for this shot, but
nice.
But it looked cool. So
there is nothing like having makeup and hair.
Yeah. And a willing model, letting them to really
go crazy. I was talking to a photographer who built a studio down in LA, and he physically built the studio, but he intentionally put in a really, really small hair salon next to his studio. Oh, and wow. The rental arrangement is you work for me when I need you. And he has, of course, readily available all the time. Whenever he needs a hair person or a makeup person, he just walks in, puts himself on the day's calendar when he needs them. I thought, that's brilliant. That square footage doesn't cost you much, and it's super valuable to a hair and makeup person.
Yeah.
I thought,
that is a great
idea.
Yes, it is. Huh. This one.
I'm not sure if this is in the cards for you.
This one is kind of shocking.
It is.
The lipstick reminds me of that movie. It wasn't Princess Leia that had that, was it?
It was. No, you're one generation off. Oh, geeks running everywhere for the hills.
No, I'm sorry.
That would be episode 1.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
That would be Amidala, whatever.
Oh, yes. Queen Amidala.
Yes,
Hey, at least I know the name.
Your mistake is understandable because due to the Jar Jar Binks factor, you are trying to block that out of your memory.
Yes.
It was horrible.
Exactly.
There were good special effects, but
her eye makeup is so cool, and I love the cards. It's like she's the queen of something.
Yes.
Exactly.
But I kind of want to say diamonds because of her eyes, but...
I think it's spades is the proper word.
Spades, you think?
No. Oh, sorry, not spades. I am so wrong. That is diamonds.
Yeah, I feel like it's diamonds.
It is diamonds.
It's like those old Victorian shoots where with the big collars.
Right.
I love that idea. That's the inspiration, I can tell.
Yes, exactly.
How did you get the cards to stay?
So actually, I would love to take full credit for the idea here, but I did, how photographers do. We admire other people's work, and there's I forget his name. There's an English photographer that had a similar, not exactly like this, but a similar photograph. And I asked the same question. I said, he had done some crazy things with playing cards like that, and I said, how does he do it? And I never really knew, but I had to figure out how to make that collar. So what I did is I took an old belt, one of my old belts, and I actually cut a slit in the top of every card just wide enough that I could slide them. I cut it short, obviously the belt, to make a necklace out of it. And then I actually slid those cards one by one onto the belt so that it made this collar. Huh. And then we were able to buckle it on the side that you don't see.
It is both a photo prop and kind of a fetish item, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know, card fetish.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure there is.
I'm sure that's there. Okay, I hesitate usually to say I would change something, but I'm wanting there to be a spade painted on her back. or or a diamond on her back.
A spade.
Not a spade. I'd be wrong. Look, there's
That
a
would be
shovel on
kind
her
of neat.
back. No,
Although those photos, they don't have anything. It's very plain.
that's true. It is true. It's cool.
It's
I like it. I
Mm.
love that eye makeup, and I'm even willing to forgive that lip makeup now. I'm gonna take and not hurl when I see that on Princess What's Her Name.
Oh, Queen Amidala.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The model here, her name was Giovanni, and she was I just wanted to mention that. That was our first shoot too. So it's funny. I'll do these first shoot with these girls, and I guess they like it because they come back and work with me again. So
the face shape is really good, and I like the slight squint to the eyes. And the light is put high enough that the key light in her eyes is not it's not so distracting, because you have other things to be distracted by. A lot of times when you want your viewer to fall into the eyes, you make sure that key light is somewhere out in the middle of the eye. And in this case, it's up and off, and it says that's not what's important here. And I like it. Now, speaking of a little bit of makeup.
Wow. It's like Avatar.
Yeah, no, you're selling this short. Avatar is
This is gorgeous.
This is much better.
This is gorgeous.
yeah. Now, interestingly, so this is the same model that did the steampunk look we just talked about. Her name's Megan, and so you can kind of recognize those lips again, maybe.
Yeah.
And this was actually the very first time I shot any kind of body paint, and I was looking to do something, pretty outstanding. I mean, a lot of people, they do the body paint, you paint the clothes on the model or whatever. It's just boring stuff, So I actually called around and tried to contact who locally, could do something like this, and found a body painter who actually, interestingly enough, spends most of her time doing kids' parties, clown faces and whatnot.
Oh, how funny.
Gotta go where the money is, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And those little buggers are a gold mine.
Those eyes. I love her eyes. And then I love the spots all over her too. This is so unique and one of a kind.
Yeah, it's very painted in layers. You can see where she brought in a base color, then she brought in an overarching pattern, and then spots, and then the black. And this is definitely somebody who thought about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know you don't see it, but it is full body paint. It took 7 hours to do this look.
Wow.
And she actually did it in her studio. The body painter did, and then I had to transport the model in my car over to my studio to shoot it. So
oh no!
That makes you want to take her on into 7-Eleven right there.
Yeah.
This is my girlfriend. She's got this thing.
It's a disease.
Yeah. They say the antibiotics will clear this up in a heartbeat.
That's right. Interestingly,
really nice.
You can play you can shoot this any different kind of way. You can make it scary. You can do whatever. But I just kind of wanted that, the femininity to come through it anyway, even though she was painted up like this. And clearly it was popular. This did win Model Mayhem's Picture of the Day, the big contest they have every time. So a lot of people seem to like it.
Yeah, well, I hope so, unless they're blind.
It's incredible.
And even then, this thing would work in Braille.
Yeah, true.
It's a heck of a picture. Well done.
Very.
Thank you.
Now this one defies gravity.
Well, for a moment, it defies a few things. I love the hair. Of all things about this, the hair is awesome.
I agree. It's all weightless.
And clearly it's a function of the jump. She had reached the apex and she had just started falling again. So it gives it this bouffant look, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's great.
You can't get that if you try.
So obviously this is odd. What inspired you?
So I was working here with a makeup artist that loves to do these dark looks. So lots of blood and lots of which I don't like to shoot typically. It's just not my thing. But this model, her name is Stephanie Whitmore. She was a friend of this makeup artist and said, yeah, I want to do something really dark, kind of crazy, freaky, scary. And so I think it was kind of a group effort coming up with this idea. Now she's clearly wrapped in bandages there, and we kind of just made an outfit out of it. That wall is actually one of the walls in my studio.
Intentionally that way?
Yeah. That when I rented the place, the landlord said, "Hey, I can paint this up for you." I said, "No, don't touch it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just like that.
Throw a few cats against it. We need some more texture.
Exactly. It only improves with age.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, we did several different looks, or at least shots with this look. Kind of the idea was like almost an escaped mental patient. I'm not quite sure, what it was, but boy, this came out very freaky, I have to say.
Yeah, it's superb.
Her fingers are great. I love her fingers. They're great.
Yeah.
I mean, she really got that.
I think she weighs a total of maybe 105 pounds.
Yeah,
this
she's
model,
lean.
So.
Yeah, she is tiny.
Decidedly lean. This next photo is slightly colorful.
I'd say.
Amazing. Lots of feathers. Is that a boa?
I love it.
It was several boas, actually. 3 of them.
I guess
Nice.
black, purple, and light purple.
You need more boas in your life.
I agree.
And I don't mean snakes. Not that that isn't cool, too.
Your daughter's walking around the house with one around her neck.
Yeah, she's got a snake thing.
Not a boa, but a snake.
I think it's a phase. She's in the snake and large lizard phase.
I like it. I went through it
I
too.
fear for my life at night around her house, around the house.
I was definitely a reptile girl for a little while too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
I think it's a phase that lots of people go through.
It's okay. I went through it too. So, lovely lip shape. I love the fact that you just all but blew out the skin texture and took it to near white.
Yeah.
I'm presuming that's a lot in after.
Yeah, I mean, she did have white, makeup on, but not nearly that much. And I wanted that stark white in this image. Interestingly, we had shot probably 4 different looks with this makeup artist and this model Adriana Delp, who interestingly is my nanny right now, who takes care of my 5-month-old.
Oh.
But that day we had done some different looks and we were just kind of sitting around and I was looking at the boas hanging off the end of my clothes rack that I have in the studio, and I said, what can we do with these? And the makeup artist grabbed them, twisted them together and wrapped it around her face and said, what about this? And so we shot it, and it was the shot of the day,
So you'll be using this makeup artist more.
Right, yeah, it was very creative, last minute kind of a thing, and it was literally probably one of the last clicks of the camera, and I said that's it. I don't even want to shoot anymore because we got it. This is going to be a winner, and sure enough, it was. Got a lot of positive feedback about this shot. She has these deep blue eyes, icy, I would say, blue eyes.
Yeah.
And, it was neat because
how much help those eyes got, because they're
that's it. It's unbelievable. That's how her eyes are.
Crazy. I love the under eye makeup too, or the spikes.
Yeah. So I see you used a ring light.
Yep.
I see a little gap at the top of the ring light in the reflection. Is that one of the reflective ring lights, or is that a proper ring light?
That is a ring light, and it had a soft, I don't know what you call it. It's kind of a soft box adapter on it, to kind of
Oh, okay. All right.
Soften it up just a bit. So I don't know what the gap is, but
a lot of the ones where it's on a regular strobe and it's just a reflective thing that creates a ring light, they get that gap.
No, this is a real ring light. It's
I've been looking at some of these LED ring lights are actually starting to get powerful enough they're interesting. And for like in close studio, you're not going to use it outside or anything, but I need to get some of those in for review so that maybe some of them can't get returned. But
one last note about I wanted to mention the lips, right? Because they're clearly, nobody sells lipstick that color. The makeup artist actually blended eyeshadow with whatever she used to apply that so that she could match. See, you can see it's a great match for the eyeshadow.
Yeah.
And that's how she got that color.
She's gone to 11.
Yeah,
I like
she's
her.
an amazing girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking the makeup artist, right?
Yes. Well, the girl's pretty too.
Yeah, she is.
It is near Christmas.
This is body paint.
This is body paint.
I didn't realize that. At first glance, it was...
You thought it was a cute outfit?
Yes.
So, firstly, lovely model.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Lovely shape, lovely face.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, Jessica is actually, her name is Jessica Yeomans. She lives in Las Vegas now, and a former police officer, if you could believe it.
Oh, man.
Nice.
She could pull me over.
I'm going to leave that where it is.
You know, it would make getting a ticket less painful, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, we have a gal who is one of our local PD officers that I've pulled up next to, and I'm gone, I could speed right now if I wanted to meet that girl. Maybe I get her to model. And I thought, no, that's not good.
Probably not worth it.
No. But now that you've let me out of the ticket, what are you doing on Thursday?
Which makeup artist did this one?
So this was a body painter I've worked with many times, and it wasn't the one who did the previous, the alien thing. This was it's a gentleman named Matt Huntley who I've worked with on many occasions, and she really just, this model wanted to do something for the holidays, and so he came in and painted that for her. And
you think this was her Christmas picture that she sent out?
she's not a shy girl, so I would imagine she sent
guessing.
that out. Yeah, it was a fun shoot. She after this look, he actually painted on these long red and white striped stockings on her, and then we did a few more looks. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
Love it. I have to have you send us his contact info. Maybe we want to talk to him.
Yeah,
you really should. I mean, his work is. He even painted a horse once, which is amazing.
All right.
We definitely want to interview him.
Yeah, he's made the list.
Great.
This pose is phenomenal. This next
she makes
picture.
me feel fat.
Yes.
So this is the same model. This is Jessica again, only without body paint this time.
Oh, sure enough. She has a beautiful body.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, and what makes you sick is they say, "Oh, do you work out a lot?" Well, no, not really. She doesn't. It's just like that.
Curse you.
Some people don't have to work out, and they just are muscled and beautiful.
I hate that.
It's genetics.
Yeah, I know, and sadly, some of them like carry that into their 60s, and they're you're like, "Wow, you look amazing. Are you 45?" No, I'm 65. It's like, oh.
So interesting. So this is obviously some sort of wardrobe, like an antique
armoire or
wardrobe.
something.
Yeah, armoire, right? And it was we're just shooting around, and she's like, "Hey, let me use this," and she actually just jumped right in there and took that pose. And I said, "Don't move. We're gonna get this." And again, a very popular shot. She, I think she makes it for the most part, but I think because it's an armoire and you don't see the people using it in this fashion quite often.
This is very unusual.
It is interesting in that if you look at it, it violates a few things. Like, you're really never supposed to do that with an ankle.
Right.
You're really never supposed to artificially narrow somebody's leg that much unless you're crazy with Photoshop. And yet, because of the unusual pose and the fact that, she's stuffed in a cabinet, your mind goes, well, that's okay because she's stuffed in a cabinet. If you cut and pasted her and put her on top of a chair like that, people would go, really? I can't look at that. And yet here, your brain goes, well, of course she's going to look like that. She's in a friggin' cabinet.
Right.
And you lose her backhand, too.
Yeah. You kind of see an elbow, but you would... you get away with a completely different set of rules depending on what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually one of the reasons why I think there's a lot of value for somebody who's into photography to do a bunch of white background work, because it kind of removes the opportunity for the preconceived notions.
So you said that there was an artificial slimming of the legs?
Yeah, just the pose tends to, when you pull an ankle around like that, it flattens the muscle next to the tibia there.
Yes.
And then it also takes and it blocks up the other muscle there next to the fibia. And so it can make the leg go. It squares the muscle and shrinks it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you look at this other leg, she has really a nice, very feminine. You know she's not one of those muscular, square-muscled girls.
Yeah.
And yet it shows up there, and it shrinks the size of the leg. But again, because you have the good leg, and because she's stuffed in a cabinet, your brain goes, oh, that's fine. That's fine, no problem at all. She's stuffed in a cabinet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you got to think, right? If I would have been really concerned about that, I would have not done the shot, and I would have said, "Oh, wait a minute, this will look odd. I don't want to." But no, I just, it's partly the emotive expression on her face. It's the way the light's hitting her tummy.
Oh, it's good all the way around.
Yeah. That had enough appeal to me. I said, let's put this out there and see what people think.
No, I really do like it. I think it was a really good choice.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very simple light, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Did you add this next one for me?
Yes, I did.
That
I actually, this needs some blues music playing behind it.
Exactly.
Saxophone.
Yeah. So if he, well, again, not to change your picture any, but if he had a saxophone, if he had a saxophone hanging over his shoulder, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It does seem to fit. It's the wrinkled shirt, but it's almost like it's linen or something, where it's classy wrinkled.
Yeah. No, it's just beautiful. It's high contrast. It's simple, and
he's an attractive model as well.
I find him to be as attractive as I find most men.
Yes.
And no, in the technical, he's an attractive guy. He's got this is going to sound weird, but he has a very nice head shape.
Mm-hmm.
Which matters when you got short hair like that.
Yes.
And no, it's really carried off nicely, and I'm just a sucker for the high contrast. My sharpening slider always creeps to the right.
Perfect.
So this wall is the opposite side of my studio. From the peeling paint one, I have this brick wall on the other side, and I don't shoot a lot of guys, and you probably saw that in my portfolio. They just don't contact me. I mean, obviously, most of my stuff leans towards women, but he's actually he was a model doing some stuff for Nike and Adidas here in town, and just wanted to get something besides Nike, and they shoot more the athletic looks and the lifestyle-y, if nothing else, smiling and whatnot. But he wanted something different for his portfolio, and I said, well, why don't we try to make it real moody? And you hit it right on the head there. I thought to myself, like in a back alley with a trumpet or something, is what I was picturing at the time. And I
hat in front of him with music or money collecting.
Mm-hmm. yeah, totally. And I don't even think if he was convinced this would work, and I first proposed it to him, and I said, well, just let me do it, and then tell me what you think afterwards. And sometimes it's hard if, you're used to only being shot in one certain style, either in running shoes or playing tennis or whatever. And, to have somebody suggest something like this, I think he was unsure, but once he saw the results, he was really happy with it.
Works great.
Yeah, it is just superb. Now, let's move on to a picture that's, visually simple.
Mm-hmm.
Visually simple would have been the wrong word for that.
Not what that is.
Man, her breasts almost get lost in the paint.
And nobody wants breasts to be lost.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous, but they don't.
Not completely. You can see a little bit
so
on
is this paint or projection?
So this was projection.
Oh.
And it was my first attempt actually at projection. I suppose we could have gone with paint. I mean, certainly, I know some pretty terrific body painting folks, but, literally we shot this in probably 15, 20 minutes just because of the ability to, use the projector to get kind of a similar effect. You can kind of see up in the hair, where it goes up in there, where it's projected. But,
you can also see with her hands the way they are. There's almost no way that a painter could have gotten that exactly right.
I don't know. Some of those guys are crazy.
Yeah, I suppose with unlimited time and, unlimited patience on her part to stay in the exact same position, they could have done it. But,
this is why we need to develop the body inkjet printer. You just lay someone down and let it, and they'd have yourself painted however you want them. I'll get right on that.
But I definitely wanted people to, at some point, wonder whether it was paint, or projection. And I think if I had just done, a simple pattern or something like that, but I actually, went online and looked for something pseudo-psychedelic like that, to give people, pause to actually sit and wonder, what it was. And actually, it's funny, I mentioned Matt Hundley, the guy who painted the horse before. He actually contacted me about this image when I put it up, and he's like, "Hey, who are you using if it's not me?"
So where did you come up with the psychedelic image? Is that your work eventually, or did you find it?
I found that. I actually
awesome.
found that online, and I had several different options. We tried a few different patterns, but in the end, this one came out the best, I thought. Yeah, I think because she's curvy, the pattern's curvy, and it just kind of liked the way it hit her face, and kind of almost complemented her figure, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, no, oh yeah, it's definitely good. I really like.
Yeah, it's really unusual.
I like it a lot. Very cool.
Lots of curves.
Okay, so I put this one in the podcast not because it's good or bad. It is good. What I'm saying is, if you are shooting for money, for God's sakes, remember this. Take your darn picture frame to the beach, put your model out there, take a picture, because I will be ripping this off for years.
Yes. This is a really fun idea.
I see maybe 2 or 3 picture frames with different people in them. There is no end to the cash flow from this concept.
It's
and
also
that's totally what we do.
It's also really popular at weddings.
Really?
This year, they hang picture frames in the doorwells with nothing in them. And people take
we've talked
pictures.
about empty doorwell frame things.
Yeah, where you take your own pictures in them.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd. But this is kind of a knockoff of the same idea.
But this is infinitely better.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm just saying the concept is similar.
And you can take a crooked photo. It's still straight. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, I should notice, and I'm sure this was on purpose, even if it wasn't, the umbrella is straight to the picture frame.
Uh-huh.
And that brings a visual symmetry that makes you want to put her in that scene.
It's really interesting.
It is just
it
well
was
done.
It was a stormy day, on the coast, on the Oregon coast, which is just about 80% of the time.
Every day, yes.
What do you call a day when all the photographers are outside? Right. Sunny.
Yeah.
The great thing about Oregon, and I know you guys are in California, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've tried to shoot on the beach in California. There are people everywhere.
Well, that's true.
Well, you have to find the right beaches.
Yes.
Right. Oregon, you basically drive to the coast, and there are miles and miles and miles of deserted beach. So that's one of the benefits.
That's nice, but there's usually water falling from the sky.
Right.
Whenever I go up to Oregon or Washington, I'm like, okay, so when does it stop raining again? And they're like, June.
Yeah, 1 month.
Yeah. Come back in June, cross your fingers.
But I guess the brooding sky actually kind of helps this image, I thought.
For sure.
There was this old frame just laying around in my studio, and I said, I got to make use of this thing. So we dragged it along. I wasn't quite sure what we were going to do with it, but I jammed it into the sand there, and just enough so that the wind wouldn't blow it over. So I'm basically laying on my stomach, in the sand to take this, and she's about, 30, 40 feet away from me. And it was, the wind's blowing. She can't hear me. And I'm just like, just stay right there.
Do some posy things. So if you are stealing this, as I am, I'm already planning on getting a couple of picture frames, painting them to where they do have some color, and then drilling a hole and putting a spike down out one corner for jamming into the sand.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. I see it happening already.
You're letting other people steal your idea of stealing his idea.
Yeah, I know, but that's our job. Our
You're
job
right.
is to uncover interesting things and then present them for theft.
You're right. Okay.
Let me tell you about music. No. Okay. Anyway, what a great idea. And it really worked. And, one of the interesting things is we get to compose an image after the fact often, but in this case, the frame is in the picture, so you have to do all your framing, as I will air quotes, your framing has to be right in the picture. You're not doing it afterwards.
Nope.
That's right.
Oh, talk about emotion.
Wow.
Such a good picture.
So this was a girl who, I'm making up the story right now.
Please.
She
That's a left at the altar.
She went to prom. Nope, I don't think she was in prom. Look at her shoes.
You're
Nobody
right,
would wear
that's
that to her
prom.
wedding. And, proms are later at night.
Yeah.
So you could actually walk in, and I think that she started a fight, and she was taking tequila shots in the bathroom. And underage, of course. So she got thrown into a jail cell, and now she's crying because her boyfriend left her.
A jail cell in Mexico, maybe.
In Mexico, yeah.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly to the word.
Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking is that's what's happened to her.
And that is the boyfriend is like, he's got somebody else on his arm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's, he's like, you're drunk. I'm out of here.
Yes.
I'm taking the cute chick.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why she got in a fight.
Good point.
And messed up her hair.
She lost.
So clearly this is, we're definitely going for an emotive type of a shot there. And this is actually the back corner of my studio, which has that exposed pipe and all this other stuff.
A chain holding the pipe up?
Yeah, it's really old school. I think the building's been here since the early 1900s, and not much has changed since then.
Just hoping that thing isn't carrying sewage, man, because your day could go bad.
I think that it actually is. I just don't want to think about it.
Don't bump it. Don't bump the pipe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is she wearing a dress?
She is. She's wearing tulle fabric, and I think some other like two sheets of fabric we had here in the studio.
Okay, because it could be a dress, but it also looks like it could be fabric. That's why I asked.
Yep. So we wanted to make the illusion that it was a kind of a dress, a messed up dress, I guess, and that's what we came up with.
Well, and again, the deep contrast with that brickwork is fantastic, and not overlit. It's just enough, not too much.
Yeah, we wanted it moody and not, almost like she's sitting in the dark and maybe illuminated with like a single bulb above her head or something.
Yeah, really, really well done. Our last image of the day, and I'm sorry, it doesn't actually have an exposed butt. It does have a butt, though. There, you can see her backside.
That's okay. Side boobs
is it
just
close
as
enough?
good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's side butt and side boob, so it's two halves make a whole.
But the thing is, you can't really see the side butt. So if she had like a thong on, then you could see it. But so you can see the side boob.
I see everyone with a side butt that's exposed, regardless.
She is gorgeous, and I love her beauty mark.
Beautiful.
Man, it just makes it.
I know. She is. She's outstanding. Here's something sad about this model. Her parents do not approve of her modeling whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
They've never supported her, and she's kind of done it and then like stopped and then tried it up again. And currently she's not modeling at all. But, any picture I've ever put up of her, people are like, why isn't this girl making money doing this?
Is she decently tall?
She's about 5'8", so just tall enough maybe to do something.
Send her down.
I know, man.
There's a beach waiting for this girl.
Yeah, serious. She has a sex appeal, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. I know.
My parents don't know that I do modeling either, and they would never be okay with it.
My parents are eager to see what my next thing is.
Yeah, you're lucky.
And they're highly critical. They're like, really, her breast should be tilted a little this way. I'm like, Dad, stop. You're ruining my rebellion at age 40. Honestly, make sure this girl knows that she was featured on the podcast, and I am telling her she is absolutely gorgeous, and she needs to pursue this further.
Yeah.
And the picture is superb. She's better.
Yeah, no, I know. She's outstanding. I mean, the looks she can give, she only does this as a hobby because she doesn't get the support. And I keep thinking, wow, the looks, just from her eyes and the way she places her lips and everything. I mean, I can't teach that. I can't even coach somebody into that, and when girls come in with that little experience, it's rare that they can pull off those kind of emotive expressions. And she's a natural, which is, it's just hard to teach that and hard to coach that. And she just came in here, boom, just did it. So,
and part of it is also, she's done just the little side boob tease thing. But other than that, I mean, this is nothing you could not wear in public. I mean, it's not like she's really putting it out there. It's purely the fact that she is undeniably beautiful and she's emoting really well.
Yes.
Yep. Yep, I know. It's sad because if she had a little support, I think she could go a lot further. But I'll certainly let her know about the podcast, and maybe I'll encourage her to come out of her, pseudo-retirement right now.
Very good. So, Alan, how can we get a hold of you if our listeners want to get a hold of you? What's the best route?
My website's probably the best place to find me. It has my contact info on there. It's www.obliquephoto.com, and that's photo with an F.
Ah, well, of course. You can't be one of them going with the P people. And of course, Model Mayhem.
Model Mayhem. People are glad. I'm Oblique Photo on Twitter. I'm Oblique Photo on Instagram. I'm Oblique Photo on Facebook. Any of those social media outlets.
The power of picking something nobody else has thought of.
Yeah.
Right.
So good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for joining us today. It was a pleasure to go through your photos and learn more about you and your models and your body painters. Man, there's a lot of talent there.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be in touch and give you guys Matt's info. I think it would be a lot of fun. He's actually a real funny guy and does some amazing work. You guys would like to talk to him.
We will look forward to that. If you would like to get a hold of us, we are at modelphotographysshowcase@gmail.com. We would love to have people send in their pictures. We would love to have people send in their ideas. And you can send in the name of your favorite body painter, and we will try to put them on the show.
Yes, we've only had one other body painter, I think.
Yes.
And somebody else that did.
We had kind of an artisty body painter, but it's not quite the same.
You're right. Well, looking forward to that. Well, thank you again, Alan.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Keep on clicking.